Fast, furious, and sometimes fatal, here are the top 10 biggest hailstorms. Number 10. Gopalganj, Bangladesh, 1986. On April 6, 1986, the deadliest hailstorm on record hit Gopalganj, Bangladesh. The hailstones produced by the storm were so big that they actually capsized hundreds of fishing boats. 50 boatmen went missing during the storm, and another 100 boatmen were severely injured. The storm also severed telecommunication in remote areas and caused extensive damage to agriculture and crops. In fact, so much damage was caused by the storm that relief efforts were called in to help those affected. And along with hundreds of injured people, 92 people lost their lives during the storm, making the Bangladesh hailstorm the most destructive hailstorm on record in regards to human fatality. Number 9. El Dorado, Kansas, 1951. Hailstorms are notorious for happening in the late spring and early summer, and the El Dorado hailstorm of 1951 was no exception. The huge hailstorm hit El Dorado, Kansas on June 23, 1951, and brought record-breaking hail accumulation with it. El Dorado is no stranger to hailstorms, but the hail that fell in 1951 accumulated at alarming speeds. In fact, the hail that accumulated was over 12 inches deep in places. The accumulated hail caused road closures and damages to numerous cars and buildings, bringing with it a bizarre but temporary winter wonderland landscape right at the start of summer. Number 8. Edmonton, Alberta, 2004. On July 12, 2004, one of the worst hailstorms in Canadian history struck Edmonton, Alberta. The hailstones were massive. People who witnessed the storm said that the hailstones were the size of golf balls. The hail also accumulated rapidly, with 2.4 inches falling in less than 30 minutes. The storm caused destructive flash floods and many buildings were damaged. The famous West Edmonton Mall made headlines when 20,000 people had to be evacuated. The hail was so heavy that it actually caused the glass roof of the mall to shatter. The ferocity of the hailstorm was so rare that it's said to be a 1 in 200-year occurrence, making the Edmonton hailstorm of 2004 not just one of the biggest hailstorms on record, but also one of the most unique. Before we move on, be sure to subscribe to Daily Top 10s with notifications on so you don't miss any of our videos. Number 7. Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, 2018. A severe hailstorm pounded down on Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas on June 6, 2018. The region of southeast Arlington was hit the hardest, where hailstones measured 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter. The size of the hailstones was likened to golf balls and baseballs. The storm caused power outages to 325 homes, and estimates of the damage caused by the storm came in at around $425 million. People posted pictures of the massive hailstones all over social media. Thankfully, the storm didn't last long, but its damaging effects and insurance claims continued on long after the storm had passed. Number 6. Chicago, Illinois, 2000. Chicago has seen its fair share of inclement weather and storms over the years, but few storms rival the notorious hailstorm of 2000. During the massive hailstorm of 2000, countless homes and vehicles were damaged. The hailstorm happened on May 18th, and the city of Chicago was caught completely off guard when the hail began to fall, causing the city to come to a standstill. The hailstones, which were reported to be the size of baseballs, smashed through skylights and windows alike. And the storm was far-reaching, spreading from McHenry to northern Kane to northern Cook County. In fact, it was the most widespread hailstorm that Chicago had seen in over 30 years. 100,000 homes lost power, and the hail accumulated to 3 inches deep in places. Countless flights were canceled, and damages amounted to $572 million. Number 5. Vivian, South Dakota, 2010. The hailstorm that struck Vivian, South Dakota on July 23, 2010, was not only one of the biggest hailstorms in the history of the United States, it holds a world record. The hailstorm produced the world's largest recognized hailstone. Many massive hailstones fell throughout the storm, but one hailstone in particular caught someone's attention. The hailstone was 8 inches in diameter with an 18.5-inch circumference. The massive ball of ice weighed an unbelievable 1.93 pounds. The hailstone was collected by Lee Scott. He saw the huge hailstone and went outside to collect it. He was reportedly going to use the hailstone to make himself some daiquiris. However, given the size of the hailstone, he changed his mind and put the hailstone in the freezer. He eventually brought the hailstone to the attention of the National Weather Service, where its size was officially verified. Vivian's big hailstorm of 2010 still holds the record for producing the biggest verified hailstone in the world. Number 4. Sydney, Australia, 1999. On April 14, 1999, Sydney, Australia bore witness to one of the biggest hailstorms in recorded history. The storm produced 500,000 tons of hailstones and destroyed everything in its path. The insurance claims after the storm came in at over $1.7 billion. It was a unique type of hailstorm called a supercell storm. The storm was erratic, and even the Bureau of Meteorology could not keep up with the hailstorm's changing weather patterns. The storm was violent, quickly changing directions, and lasted far longer than most hailstorms. With winds of more than 56 miles per hour and hailstones as large as 5 inches in diameter, the storm was unprecedented. The storm left its mark on Sydney as the hailstones damaged everything from houses to structures to cars to people. In fact, the damage done by the 1999 Sydney hailstorm was the costliest in Australian history. Number 3. Midlands and East Anglia, England, 1843. The worst and biggest hailstorm in Britain took place on August 9, 1843, in Midlands and East Anglia. Although not officially verified, experts believe that the storm was a supercell storm because of the destruction the storm caused. The hailstones were large, and although there are no official measurements, they were certainly enough to cause some serious damage and some serious accumulation. Hailstones accumulated to 4.9 feet deep in places, obstructing roadways. It's also believed that the hailstorm was so massive that it actually spawned its own tornadoes, which caused damage by their own right. The damage caused by the storm was so extensive that it spurred an entire insurance company to be formed. The company was formed after the storm to help mitigate the costs of insurance claims in future hailstorms. The insurance company, originally called the General Hail Insurance Company, later turned into Norwich Union. Number 2. Denver, Colorado, 2017. There seems to be an onslaught of massive hailstorms in recent years, but one of the worst is the Denver, Colorado hailstorm of 2017. The recent hailstorm in Denver, Colorado was so big that it literally caused billions of dollars in damages. Now, Denver is no stranger to hailstorms. Hailstorms are actually fairly common in Denver, but Denver has never seen a hailstorm of this magnitude. The storm hit on May 8, 2017, and it is currently one of the biggest hailstorms in Colorado's history. And to add injury to insult, the peak of the storm happened at the height of the rush hour commute, causing hundreds of traffic-jammed cars to be pummeled by massive hailstones. The storm has several lasting effects. The hailstorm severely damaged the Colorado Mills Mall. The mall was forced to close until the end of 2017. Along with the mall, countless cars, houses, windows, and roads suffered extensive damage. All in, the cost of the storm was so catastrophic that it surpassed even the costliest of forest fires or any other natural disaster in Colorado's history. So, what was the price tag of the Denver 2017 hailstorm? The hailstorm caused $2.1 billion in damages, making it one of the costliest hailstorms ever recorded in the world. Number 1. Munich, Germany, 1984. The top spot on this list of top 10 biggest hailstorms goes to a hailstorm that tops the charts when it comes to damages. The Munich hailstorm of 1984 has been called the costliest hailstorm in history. The storm happened on July 12, 1984 in Munich, Germany, and the hailstorm was not just massive in terms of damages, it was also massive in terms of area. The hailstorm wreaked havoc on an area 9 miles wide and 155 miles long. In fact, hail fell all the way from Lake Constance to the border of Austria. Huge hailstones, measuring upwards of 2 inches in diameter, flew through the air at speeds of 43 miles per hour. 70,000 homes were damaged in the storm, and more than 200,000 cars were hit by hail. 150 aircraft were also damaged, and the massive hailstones injured more than 400 people. Within 30 minutes, hailstones were 8 inches deep in the streets of Munich. This fast and furious hailstorm proved a nightmare for insurance companies, as it was, and still is, the greatest insurance industry loss in the history of Germany. Furthermore, the 1984 hailstorm of Munich was one of Europe's most expensive natural disasters in decades, totaling more than $4 billion current US dollars in damages.